Ma'am, I do my own plumbing.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is
Morning Subway!
for August 11th, 2026. My name is Burnie Burns, sitting right over there. She's Bautista flavored. It's Ashley Burns. Say hi to Ashley, everybody.
I'm the little flavor.
I was like looking on there's a place where I look for my date, and I knew what it was, and I talked myself out of it. You know why? You know why I talked myself out of it?
Why?
Because of 9/11. Because it's August 11th, and and for some reason my brain goes, "Don't get this wrong."
It's too close, even though it's not at all.
We had such a funny thing yesterday on the subreddit. I don't know why this made me laugh so hard. So the whole discussion about nudity and Gen Z yesterday, which I feel like we should lay off of that discussion as well, because it's one of those things where it's 100% not everybody, right? But in order to affect products that are made for a group of people, it doesn't have to be that many people. You can have 15% of the people who change their behavior in something, and it's a huge dramatic impact, and they will completely modify the thing for everybody else to cater to that 15%.
Right, because they're worried about losing that 15%. But that's also how you end up with things getting watered down, is because there are so many different 15%s.
Yep.
That everyone is trying not to offend, that things can get super watered down.
But there was this, I'm going to call them a kid because they're Gen Z, and they specifically said they're JD's age.
What's up, fellow kids?
This is the Truffle Hunter. The Truffle Hunter said on our subreddit yesterday, chiming in as an elder Gen Z. Then in parentheses, they said, "I'm about JD's age. I was born before 9/11, but did nothing to stop it." Anyway, I had a pretty, and then that throwaway comment of I did nothing to stop 9/11 made me laugh so goddamn hard.
Do you think they were potty trained by that point, or
I love that guilt. It's I was born before 9/11. I was 6 months. I did nothing to stop it.
No, that is a brilliant turn of phrase.
I changed the flair on their account to "didn't stop 9/11." So everyone will know their shame going forward. That made me laugh really hard, though. God, that made me laugh 5 minutes straight. Throwaway comment like that. So there were people weighing in, but then of course there were people weighing in saying, "Yeah, I hate that stuff." Anyway, but it's but one person pointed out it is kind of like the millennials killing stuff. You know, that whole meme.
Just Gen Z's no fun.
Well, it's just a meme that older people use to criticize the younger generation. It's we're not criticizing. I'm just fascinated by this shift. It's a shift I never thought was going to happen.
Yes,
right?
it is. It's unusual and unfamiliar, and so we're curious about the thing.
In ours, we were slackers. That was our generation. Generation X.
You don't want to work.
Right, and
you got no ambition.
And they didn't know about us. So we're called X, right?
Yeah,
which is weirdly
the forgotten generation.
Correct. For how forgotten we are. We're unknowns or whatever. We had a remarkable impact on the naming of any generation after us, because the millennials were Gen Y. Then we have Gen Z and Gen Alpha. That's all based on us. The boomers weren't Gen W.
They had the greatest generation. And then there's the baby boomers, and then there was Gen X.
And then
Gen X was the first letter-based one. Right. They might have all maybe had letters assigned, but you would have been the first generation that they didn't bother to give a fun name to.
We didn't get a fun nickname. Well, we were called slackers. We were called slackers.
Or latchkey kids, maybe.
Latchkey, that is correct. Before we were Gen X, we were latchkey kids, which, did you know anybody who had their house key around their neck on a necklace?
Around their neck? No, but
shoelace?
No, but I absolutely had my house keys. They just went in my backpack because I would get home every day and I would leave every day and had to lock up the house and then unlock the house again.
I think I had more keys when I was 8 years old than I have now, right?
That's probably the case, but that's because your phone is now half your keys.
Right. So I'm going to make that point anyway. So, who cares? I get a lot of pass keys now because every fucking website in the world is asking for pass keys.
Yeah,
right?
I at some point I really do need to sit down and read properly about how pass keys work, because every time something asks me if I want to set one up, I have to say no, because every time I've set one up, it's just become more confusing. And this is where I go, oh, this is what it's like being the old person trying to get your head around technology. Nice.
What I don't understand about account security and authentication these days is that I have very robust, I think, authentication second factor methods. I have a hard physical key that has a security key on it. Like, I can plug into USB, or it has like an NFC chip in it, and I can put it up against my phone or whatever, and I can prove my identity through that.
You keep it on your keychain with all your keys?
The one below that, yeah, I do actually. It's with all my keys that I don't carry around with me. So this is how I know about this problem. The other one I have is, of course, an authentication app which generates like 30-second codes, 60-second codes, which I'm always like, I feel like I'm always racing to like defuse a bomb.
I know. I like it. It raises the stakes. Every time I log in somewhere, I get to defuse a bomb. It's like try and get there before it hits 0.
They gave you a little code.
It's your new code.
Right? It's a 6-digit code usually, which is randomly generated every 30 seconds to a minute. But then next to the code is a little timer ticking down to when this one's no longer going to be any good, and you're going to get another one, right?
The circle gets emptier and emptier as it counts down.
And you're like typing in, like, trying to remember the numbers, and repeating them over and
like,
over
oh
again.
no, I typed the wrong one. Back up. It's an emergency.
The problem I've got with all that is I go through all that trouble, and I maintain that for almost every site on which I have an account. Seriously, every goddamn account. And then if I don't have my like authenticator with me, which I don't know why I wouldn't for some reason, or I don't have the little security key on me, there's always this like little button saying, do you not have access to these? You want to do it another way? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, well then here's a code to your phone, which everyone tells me is insecure, but I can't turn that option off on a lot of sites.
Right.
Like they always have it as a fallback, which I get why, but it's like, what's the point of having all the other stuff if someone who's trying to get in my account and wants to spoof my phone number can just go, oh, I'll just click this other option.
Right, because one of the reasons that you don't traditionally use SMS codes is because that's easier to spoof, right?
Right, spoof it. They get a spoof.
I don't want to get spoofed.
Have they fixed that yet? I don't hear about that too much anymore.
Hey, don't spoof me.
Hey, fellas, no spoofing.
No spoofing business today, fellas.
But on a less lighter note, we caught some shit for not knowing who Lando Norris is. I'm going to be perfectly clear.
That still counts as a light note to me, just because it's just not our world.
Racing is not my thing at all. Like if I got into any racing at all, it would probably be MotoGP, which there were events in Austin because of the F1 track that was there.
In MotoGP, is that the one on the motorcycles?
That's the one. You got it, Ashley. It's one of the motorcycles. Do you know why?
Hence the moto.
Do you know why I would be into MotoGP?
Because people crash and die.
This is the dumbest, dorkiest reason.
Go ahead.
It was one of like 3 games available during the Xbox Live beta test when we were testing online multiplayer.
So you have a weird soft spot for Moto.
It was like I had to play this game. It was like there was literally only 3 games that you could play. It might have been only 2 games you could play. And I can't even remember what the other ones were because I played some MotoGP. I think one might have been a Rainbow Six game. Let's look this up.
Yeah, okay. There was Rainbow Six 3 around that time, I think. Great game, by the way. But Bernie, it's this all comes into something I want to talk about today, which is video games training you for real life. The TSA just made an announcement that they've hired 2,000 gamers to man air control towers at airports. So I want to make sure that everyone knows this before you book your next flight, okay? This is important to know that the TSA just hired a bunch of game nerds to man the air control towers. This is like a campaign they started in like April or something. And they're 94% like of their through their hiring goal. So it's like over 2,000 gamers so far. Now, which is great because I know that video games train you to multitask and they train your hand-eye coordination. There's a lot of things that go on, but it also raises a lot of questions. What kind of games?
I would guess, let me think about that. RTS would be a big one, I would think, for that.
Do you think the people doing the hiring have any appreciation for the different genres and how they would train you?
Can I ask you a question? Because the tone of your voice says you hate this idea completely. Well, honestly, on paper, is this a good idea or a bad idea? Because to me, it seems like a perfectly fine idea.
On paper, it's a good idea until you start being like, yeah, let's get the guys who are really into Roller Coaster Tycoon. They're into min-maxing Roller Coaster Tycoon.
That makes sense, but you're building too much stuff in that.
Right, but it's like, well, or like even like Factorio or stuff like that, right? Like we're talking about min-maxers. If you're hiring min-maxers, we have a real problem.
Actually, it's 2026, let's be honest. The people they're going to hire are the people who play Air Traffic Control Simulator 2026. And have 14,000 hours in that game.
You think they just like went down the list of like the Steam reviews? and they looked at the players that had like over 1,000 hours in the game and a thumbs up on it, and were like, get in touch with them.
Well, did you know
that's our new hire?
Microsoft Flight Simulator, you can get for your desk like the yoke and the pedals.
You can,
and
but
a separate throttle and everything. Did you know there's also a whole sub-community that they don't fly the planes, they just run the towers and they do air traffic control for all the people playing online?
no.
Yes.
Okay, if they're
Are you
hiring
shocked that those people exist?
No, not at all. But that seems like a subset of like the train guys, right?
This is a safe space, Ashley. You can say the word if you want to.
It's your special interest.
Right. I think it's a great idea. It makes me feel, though, they're going to be working remotely.
Right. They're like working from home. That's a problem.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing until they lose their connection, right? Like mom picks up the phone in the other room and they lose their dial-up, you know?
Right, and then it's like it all goes to shit, right? Or like the power goes out and suddenly they have no access to all the planes they're controlling.
But why do I think that? Like if, let's say, the radios go out in the tower, they're not all looking out the windows making manual calls at that point, right? I mean, what's the difference?
They're busting out the like neon orange batons and just like waving planes in.
Get down to the runway now. You're gonna wave these guys in manually. They're all just like, no, divert to Newark or wherever, you know, land in a field.
But if they're hiring just like Fortnite dudes, I'm not impressed.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. If they're mining like Roblox or Fortnite, no.
Yeah, then I'm like, well, I don't think this isn't the kind of expertise I'm looking for. I'm telling you,
gamers are adaptive though. They're adaptive. Just make it like a sub game, like a DLC for the new GTA game. No one will know. No one will know.
And the best part, you don't even have to pay them.
No, right? Just give them achievements. They'll be fine. You only crashed one plane today. Congratulations. One near miss. That's the problem. Is it'll be like you avoided a near miss collision, and then what gamers do is they're like, well, I gotta create a near miss. Like they'll be doing that all day.
Right, like I gotta get that achievement. Or they're like, okay, good. So that counts as a miss. So now we know how close we can shave it.
Hey guys, today we're going to figure out how to get a 747 within 500 feet of a 767. All right, here we go, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Jeez, man. Yeah, it could be dangerous, but I don't know. It's I feel like if you look at what they're doing, it looks like a video game. Maybe the stress of being an air traffic controller is to take the idea that these are real planes out of their head.
Well, what they need to do is do like what the U.S. military did, right? They had what was it, America's Army, right? Where you like they used this video game to basically teach kids how things would be done realistically in the military to make them easier to recruit.
Right.
What they need to do is like partner with the developer that does like, like 2 Point Hospital or like 2 Point Museum, and they need to make like 2 Point Airport. And then all that can be their entire hiring pipeline. You can get like actual like airport managers, flight scheduling, air traffic controllers, concessions, like all the people that like run the stores, like all the staffing. It can all be done strictly through that game.
Once again, how the sci-fi genre lied to us about what the future was going to be. Ender's Game. We were going to be invading other planets and having intergalactic fleets in these huge space battles. Nope, you're just gonna be landing like the 735 flight from Hoboken on Southwest. That's what you're gonna be doing. Then you're gonna find out this was all real. It's like, yeah, but it was Delta.
What happens too if it's like you just see on the news, you're like, oh, this plane crashed, and you're like, that's weird. Same thing happened to me in my video game today.
I don't hate it. I'll be honest, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. I just want more details. If they're just gamers in general, that's far too wide a pool, and that's not nearly specialized enough for what I would be looking for if I was in charge of this hiring process.
My buddy, who's a surgeon, we would, of course, there's a lot of curiosity about performing.
Do you guys play a lot
surgery,
of Operation?
And so you ask questions like not specific like personal questions because can't discuss that stuff, but like what's it like? And like we get in there and stuff, like you open something up and you're like, oh my God, this is a mess, because he does like orthopedic stuff. And one time it came up like the concept of LASIK, and he's like, oh, that's like, because you guys could be trained to do LASIK like within a day, like a 6-hour training course. Because it's like your video game. He doesn't play video games. It's like y'all's video games where you just get a reading on the eye. The computer does all the work for what like the lens of the eye, the shape it should be. And then it basically just makes a bunch of crosshairs for the laser, and you just go bip, bip, bip. You just go around and hit the crosshairs, and that's all you do.
What if you miss?
What's that?
What if you miss?
Sometimes you miss on purpose. Maybe they get supervision. You never know. It's like I was off by a millimeter. Now the guy's got heat vision. Or whatever.
That's how you start the X-Men.
That's a job I could never do.
Too much pressure?
Too much consistent attention, if I'm being totally honest.
Okay.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I just got to be like 30 seconds every now and then for me to just think about something
You
else
need
random.
space out breaks.
Absolutely. I daydream way too much to do a job like that, you know?
You look up and you're like, oh, oops.
Well, it's like, it does seem like
So
anything you do on a routine basis becomes almost like muscle memory and you can put it in the background. Like, it's weird how much I think everybody's like this, right? If you're on a long distance road trip and then you're not paying attention to like every inch of the road. You are, but you're not. It does become like a secondary thing.
Right. It's like you split your brain into two different parts. There's the part that's driving and, you know, checking like who's changing lanes and who's behind you and who's ahead of you and what speed are they going. And then there's the other part of your brain that's like,
Right. Listening to music or thinking about what you're going to do when you get home or something like that. Just random stuff. In fact, a lot of times when you get close to your own house, when you're going past your house, you have to be careful because you can turn off like just from muscle
autopilot
memory,
your house.
Autopilot to your house, yeah.
Have you autopiloted a lot in your life? I autopiloted to school once and like on a weekend and I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah, why'd I do this? No, I mean, I think I made like a wrong turn or something like that. We were down in Aberdeen yesterday, you and I. We did a weird thing where we went in 2 cars and had to come back in 2 cars. Did you notice how much later I got back than you?
I did. Well,
Yeah.
because you went to Costco.
I did go to Costco, but Costco's
Did you
not that
pick
long.
up any more Lando Norris Monster?
No, but now the gamers are going to be guiding air traffic control. I should stock up on White Monster before it goes extinct.
Well, actually, what I'm learning from you and your daydreaming is that you should absolutely not apply for one of these positions.
I should not apply for one of those positions. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. Like, also, it's like, would you be comfortable if you were in a fully autonomous jet that was flying you around, like one of these like 737s, but it wasn't a human up there at all? They'll never get to that point probably, but if there's like one person up there, but they're mainly there as a safety net in case the computer can't do it anymore. I think that's coming fairly soon, but aviation doesn't fuck around with stuff like that. Right?
Well, there's too many people and planes are expensive.
Too many people and planes are expensive.
The other thing that I would like to see with the training of these gamer air traffic controllers is like how they handle emergencies, because you never know what type of emergency person someone is until you stick them in an emergency.
Oh, that's
right?
true.
Like there are people who like lock in and are fantastic and then wait until after everything is over and sorted out to have their breakdown.
We're all that person, you know, when we're predicting what we're going to be like in a situation like that.
Of course. So like, well, this is just what you should do if this happens, right?
Yeah.
And then there are people for whom like the whole brain just turns to white noise and it just shuts down. Right there, it's like the possum playing dead just like falls over in the face of a threat. That can absolutely happen, and you don't know which one you are until you end up in a dangerous situation. For example, did you hear about the guy who accidentally played the announcement of the king's death live on the radio?
King is not dead, by the way. Let's
King
be clear
is not
about that.
dead.
Yeah.
Followed by 16 minutes of just blank radio.
Wait, why 16 minutes?
I think it played it and then there was like nothing at the end of the recording.
Right.
It was like, think of like moment of silence, but like 16 minutes of silence. The dude panicked because he accidentally.
Oh my God,
it
that's
was
worse.
It was one of those like pre-recorded announcements. He accidentally played it live on the radio, panicked, had white noise brain as opposed to lock-in brain, and left the building.
For 16 minutes?
For
That's crazy.
16
Just like,
minutes.
well, this
There
job
was-
is over. I'm leaving immediately.
Yeah, like, well, I'm just gonna go home now.
Wow.
Left the building. So then there was 60 minutes of just dead air.
You remember back one of the craziest things in the early 2000s, which doesn't seem crazy at all now, which is somebody went into like directories on CNN or something like that, and they found all the pre-written obituaries for like celebrities and politicians.
Oh, that's right. So they had something ready to go the second someone's death was confirmed.
Right. And everyone was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And I was like, is it? Of course they're going to have this, because one of the things you can be certain about, if there's a slow news day and everyone's sitting around, there's nothing to report, why not pre-write obituaries? That's probably going to happen. You know, you don't even have to really have like, you don't write 2 articles and you use one for the election or something like that. You know, it's just one thing. It's a certainty. So go ahead and write it.
The trouble with that would honestly be Like, what's the hiring pipeline for who you get to manage that? Do you have to get like, instead of a gamer, do you go get like the world's biggest like pop culture gossip hound? Because their job is going to be keeping track of everything that everyone does to update the entire database.
Right. Well, following recent trends, you just hire a bunch of Tumblr kids to chronicle someone else's life. The problem is with that, like the
internet historians.
The controversy section will be like 18 paragraphs long for everybody. But yeah, so it's never surprising to me when something like that happens. But man, they did this, and then the person panicked and left the radio on nothing.
Yes.
For 16 minutes. Oh, wow. That's an incredible level of panic. They deserve a special like award for that amount of panic.
But that's like, I can see that happening so easily to your brain that just goes, you know what? We're going home.
I've had both in my life. Like, I feel like I'm pretty good in situations. But I remember as a kid, I would panic more, you know, because you're a kid and you really can't do anything. And for me, it was specifically when someone would choke. I would be like, oh no, this is really bad. And I'd think like, I would like get up from the table and like go outside the room and look back in the door. You know, it was like get out of the way kind of a thing.
Well, panic is such a weird thing. Like I heard a really weird statistic that most people who choke do so in the bathroom because
I told you that on this podcast.
You told me
ahead.
that.
Yeah.
They get up and they go to the bathroom because they're embarrassed and they just die choking in the bathroom.
Yeah, a lot of people die from choking in a bathroom in solitude
because your brain just, it doesn't do like the smart thing, which is to what, run into a table?
Well, we see it.
Or just like go to someone and start gesturing wildly at your throat.
No, you're just making a scene at that point, Ashley. Look at this guy trying to save his own life.
So embarrassing.
Well, we were told all this stuff too. You ever have something when you're a kid and like an adult says it? It was always like to me like an adult too. Do they still have this where like they would just bring a random adult into the school to like teach you about stuff like the dare guy and stuff like that? I feel like
does that not happen anymore?
Yeah, I feel like, or the guy who would bring in animals or whatever. I feel like they don't do that as much anymore, right? In modern school, they don't hear about it.
Might be hard to like, you know, find like the local zoologist in his collection that maybe they're like spread too thin.
Well, we probably don't know about it though because the kids don't tell you. You say, "What did you do at school today?" They say, "Nothing." It's like, well, I saw on the school's website that you were working the night shift at LaGuardia, you know, air traffic control.
I've done that before where I know exactly what the kids have been up to. And I know that it's really exciting because I've seen pictures from the school. And I'm like, what did you do? And they're like, mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we would have people come in and I feel like those people would occasionally say things to you and they stuck in my head forever. And for some reason, we had like a medic who came in and talked to us, probably a paramedic or something like that. And they talked about very specifically, you could be in a situation where you could be alone, literally alone in the woods, I think is what they said. And you could start choking and what you should do if you're choking by yourself. And the first piece of advice was try to give yourself the Heimlich using a chair. But then again, once again, going to our woods scenario.
You probably don't have a chair in the woods.
Probably don't have a chair in the woods. So they recommended that you, I don't, listen, this is from like 1980, whatever. I don't know if this is the current advice.
Consult your local gamer for proper expertise.
Not medical or financial advice. They said, lock your hands behind your back, you know, like clasp your hands behind your back and then just fall forward like a plank and just knock your wind out of yourself, basically land on your chest full force and knock your wind out. And, you know, out comes the thing, whatever, your Twinkie or whatever you're choking at that point.
Is it all Twinkies in the woods?
And for some reason, my whole life, I've been prepared to help myself when I'm choking alone in the woods.
But you have that knowledge. So if you get lucky and you end up with lock-in brain while you're choking in the woods instead of whiteout brain, then you're set.
Yeah. And you always hear like animals too, like with herd animals. When you watch these documentaries, like you'll just see like an antelope or whatever just like give up and let itself be eaten. And they even explain like, on an evolutionary basis, they have this trait because it's better for the herd. How pissed would you be if you got that?
If you're the one?
Yeah, if you got that genetic
I'm like,
trait.
no, can we get rid of that for me? Then you keep it. You guys go have a great time. I'm just going to be here getting eaten by the lion.
That would be a bad roll of the genetic dice. Let's just say that.
That would suck.
All right, Ashley, who am I going hiking in the woods with so I don't choke by myself?
All right, keeping you safe on your hike today are Drew Mellum and Devin. Thank you both so much for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morningsomewhere and roosterteeth.com.
All right, well, that does it for us today. August 11th, 2026. We will be back talking to you tomorrow. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.